Welcome to Everyman Prepping. And today, the World Health Organization just put out a new report updating the list of nuclear medicines that governments need to stockpile in case of, well, once you know, a nuclear war. This hasn't been updated since 2007, and I don't think it's a coincidence that it's coming out now. We're going to go through that report a little bit. I'm going to show you how to get it yourself if you need to, and then we're going to talk about what you can do with this information, why it's important to you, and how it can help your prepping. So please like, comment, and share the video, as well as subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this information. And let's get going here. So we can see here that the WHO updates this list of medicines to stockpile. And there's a Maria Niera from the director of WHO that says, the governments need to have a ready supply of life-saving medicines that will reduce the risk and treat injuries from radiation out there. Also, she needs that these need to be fast. They need to stockpile so they can get to the people fast, because for radiation exposure or in case of nuclear war like that, you need to get this to people fast. Otherwise, they get sick, get radiation sickness, and then die or have permanent damage that they can't cure. Let's see. It says here, the WHO says that a typical radiation emergency stockpile, so what you should have on hand, should include stable iodine to reduce exposure to thyroid, to thyroid damage from radioactive iodine. Chelating agents to reduce radioactive cesium, which comes from nuclear fission, i.e. a nuclear explosion, and cytokines to mitigate damage to the bone marrow, which happens when exposure to any radiation. They also go through in their list how it can help treat infection, diarrhea, vomiting, and other causes of injury and harm from radiation exposure. So here's the report. It's at the WHO's website, who.int, under publications. But I'm going to do you one better, and I'm just going to post a link in the description. And this will the PDF that'll link, and it comes up with the report. And here we're looking at the table of contents, so you can easily get to it, print it, put it on a thumb drive, read it. It's good knowledge to have. We'll talk about it why. The most important paragraph here for us, or section I guess you call it, or the paragraph, chapter, is the stockpile formulary. That's what we're going to talk about. I'll blow this up here. What drugs are used for nuclear treatment, and it goes through dosage and how much. Here's the drugs I'm talking about: potassium iodide, Prussian blue, calcium or zinc, DPTA, alganates, aluminum antacids, and you can read the list yourself. It goes on from there. And it kind of tells you which country has them approved, which one they're not approved, and available, all that. But more importantly, as preppers, what's important to us is what each one of those treats and the dosage and what it does. So first, also, it gives you here a little diagram of the body and what each form of radiation affects. What affects the lungs. And it has the chemical symbol, the elemental here, the elemental symbol. And, PO is plutonium, I believe. But if you don't know, you can go to this periodic table, and we'll check here. So just any periodic table. And let's see, I think PU is actually plutonium. Let's see, you click on it. Yes, it's plutonium. And then PO, if I can find that here really quick off the top of my head, doesn't look like I can find it right away because there's a ton of numbers. Oh, here it is. Whew. That is polonium, also radioactive. So plutonium, polonium, and once again we go back, those are those affect the lungs. Polonium also affects the kidneys. So you can kind of see, if there is a nuclear attack, radiation exposure, and the government or someone says this is the elements that are out there, this is what's dangerous, you can kind of know what part of the body it's going to affect. Then what do? Well, you go to the list of what each one of those drugs are, what what radiation it fights. It's talking here that potassium iodide blocks radiation. A little picture right here. It tells you what the indication of it is, how to apply it, what the dosage is, the shelf life, and it gives you a little even by age group. So that's iodine. You go and here's that Prussian blue. Now once again, I'm not a medical doctor, professional. This isn't medical advice. Don't take it as medical advice. Just read this for yourselves, like I am, and I don't even know if anything besides potassium iodine is readily available to the public. Like I said, you have to research that yourself, but if some people get some of the stuff on hand, you can find out what it treats. And I'm not going to go through each one of these because you can see it keeps going on here. If you want the chelating agents to help get rid of cesium during a nuclear fission occurrence, i.e. a nuclear attack, you can look and see what you need, the dosage, all that's in here. All that here is ready for you guys to read and check out. So then you want to ask yourself, why is this important? What what do you want to do with this? Why? Some people say nuclear attack hits, I'm done, I don't care, I'm giving up. Well, yeah, if you're in the blast zone, you're at ground zero, yeah, you don't have to worry about it. But most people won't be. You won't be at ground zero. You might be in the path of the nuclear plume or the fallout, but you know what? You're going to want to survive. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this channel, you wouldn't be on prepping channels, you wouldn't be in this community. So you're going to want to survive. So, read this information, take it in, see what you can do to prepare. A lot of the stuff is just knowledge and getting some supplies on hand. So don't act like it's all over. It is a survival event if you're not at ground zero and you're not right next to the fallout. And this is something that we can use from, a government agency or a non-government agency that'll, giving us information how to survive certain things. They're telling governments what to do. So what can you do with this besides read it and get knowledgeable? The other thing is, you can start at the local and state level. Make sure your city, your county, your state, make sure they're prepared. Send them, get the email to whoever you need to get it to, the mayor, the county supervisors, whoever it is. Send them this thing and say, hey, I saw this come out by the WHO. Are we ready for this? Do we have stockpiles of this stuff ready to go in case of emergency? And you can start there. You can also, do you have any nurses or doctors you know? You can send them this article, the video, and say, hey, do you have access to this in case there's an emergency? Can I come see you? Will you have access to, give out these medicines to people in case of this? It'd be good to find out now, who might have access to this stuff. So if something happens, you can get to them and then they can treat you and your family and your friends. So that's something else you can do right now. Thirdly, like I said before, not medical advice here, not a doctor, but can you get the stuff yourself? That's research you have to do on your own. Find out what it is, and figure out if it's even administrationable. Figure out if you can give it to yourself or not, or if you need a professional to do it for you. Last thing on here is just general knowledge, reading up on this stuff, keeping up with what could happen and how to fix it. Because if you can inform others, you can inform people that can procure the stuff, people that can give it out, people that can buy it in the government. So that's another reason we want to do this. It's something you want to prepare for. Is it likely to happen, something like this? It's more likely now than it has been in a long time. I think that's why they updated this list. Is it a no-win situation if you hear that nuclear warheads are inbound or it's going to happen? No, because it could be an EMP, could be a high altitude blast, and there's just a little radiation. You just need to do a few things to avoid it. Like I said earlier in the video, if you're not at ground zero, you're not right next to the blast zone in the immediate fallout, there's a chance you're going to survive. There's things you can do to survive, and you're going to want to do it because that's why you're here. And that's why you're part of a prepping community, because you want to survive. So take this information, read the report. Like I said, the links are in the description. Read all about it. See what you can do yourself. See what you can maybe have others do for you, and just make those connections now. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground. Head on a swivel.